Joining me now, the Lou Dobbs Tonight A-Team. Byron York tonight, the chief political correspondent, Washington Examiner, Ed Rollins, Republican strategist, former national campaign chairman for Governor Mike Huckabee for president, syndicated columnist, Lehman College journalism professor, Miguel Perez. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Byron, let me start with you. The president is out making his very best run at raising $1 billion. Is this a political mistake or is it sheer genius?
Well, it certainly shows that he doesn't seem to be view as too urgent with what's going on in Washington right now, which is the effort to do something about the deficit. But you have to remember, members of Congress are out on their 2-week Easter recess, so the president is using this time to take money, to raise money out in California. But it shows that he doesn't view as really urgent what's going on now.
Just after you and I talked last week, Miguel, Congressman Luis Gutierrez says he's really upset with the president, won't support him automatically for president in re-election because he's done so little for Latinos. Within 24 hours, there's a White House conference. What's the deal?
Well, it's make-believe. I don't think that Obama expects to be able to do anything about immigration. All those people who met in the White House, I think it was yesterday, they came out realizing that it was practically impossible with the political climate that we have to get immigration reform passed this year. So Obama was basically trying to appeal to the Hispanic vote without much to offer. And unfortunately,
trying to pander without giving up anything.
Absolutely,
is that
that's
right?
the word. He's pandering, and it's very unfortunate because he better do something for the Hispanic community if he wants the Hispanic vote. It's not too late for us to turn around and support someone else.
You know, I have to say, Ed, talking with Andrew Breitbart, talking about his idea on group and identity politics, I mean, I shudder at this. We are one country. How about somebody having the sense to deal with the illegal immigration issue, the border security issue, dealing with it as a national interest and the American people? Get rid of these advocacy groups, all of this activist nonsense, and get to the issue.
I'm afraid the issue is off the radar screen of most people until probably after the next presidential election, if even then, and I think it's unfortunate. This president has decided this campaign, $1 billion campaign, which is absurd, starting a year before there's even a Republican potential nominee,
right.
And he'll be out 2 or 3 days a week, every week from now for the foreseeable future, to raise $1 billion, which you don't need. You need probably $200 or $300 million at a max to run a presidential campaign against anybody.
Well, he raised 3 times that in 2008.
And he spent more negative advertising and created part of the environment that's in. But at the end of the day, the whole campaign is about the rich or bad people, and the poor are being taken advantage of because the rich won't pay their fair share of taxes, which anybody that knows anything about it knows it's absurd. So it's this class warfare.
Top 5%, by the way, just so for the record, real quickly, the top 5% of earners in this country pay just about 60% of the total taxes.
Well,
let me quickly turn to another issue, and that is, since you brought it up, let's talk about a couple of these polls, because the first poll I'd like to see is the one showing the number of people who could name a Republican, a likely Republican candidate for president. Could we see that poll? I'd like to just share that with everybody. Possible GOP candidate you've heard the most about. Donald Trump wins this contest for identification. None don't know. Beats them all by more than double. I mean, Byron, I mean, what does that suggest to you? All the other polls
it
are
says
nonsense?
they got a long way to go. I think, look, the reason that Trump is attracting so much attention now, I think, is kind of a measure of the unhappiness in the Republican Party with the Republican field. I will say this is something that happens a lot this early in the race when there's no clear incumbent or front runner. People often say they're unhappy with the field. They say, well, we're not going to do what Republicans always do, which is pick the guy who finished second the last time. But I think there may be a good chance, after all the fighting and all the maneuvering, they'll probably pick the guy who finished second last time.
Well, here's a boost for those candidates. This is if we can see this poll, and this shows the number of people who believe this country is moving in the wrong direction, absolutely the wrong direction. You can style that as, have we got that? Here we go. Obama handling of the country's policies on the wrong track, 69%, the Reuters Ipsos poll. Miguel, I mean that's devastating for the president.
Yeah, but when you talk about the direction, what direction are we talking about? Because if we keep moving, if the GOP candidates during the upcoming primaries, GOP primaries, keep racing to the right, when the general election comes around, they open the way for Obama, who may appeal still to the moderates and to the independents. If it becomes
Well,
a
we know
race
he's
to the
not
right,
doing that
he
anymore
has a
with
chance.
independents.
Well, I'm an independent. He still has a shot with me.
Okay, well then you win that argument. Let's go.
Which I think is wonderful. The bottom line is there are 8 or 9 very talented people running who've been elected governor. They're far ahead of what Obama had ever done before he became president. And I think at the end of the day, someone will emerge. It'll be a year from now, as I say. And all the arguments about going to the right, the Congress basically is trying to solve some problems. That doesn't mean the presidential candidates have to run on any of this. They have to put their own agendas forward, as they will. And I promise you 1 year from now, there'll be a very significant candidate. When you look at Trump, who's leading the polls, he's got an 80–90% name ID. It's all about his television show and what have you, and he gets 20% of people who don't know very much about him. So I think at the end of the day, we'll have a good candidate. We'll have someone who's an experienced campaigner, and it'll be a better candidate than we've had with McCain or others.
Byron, got about 20 seconds. You get the last word, if you can do it in 20 seconds.
Well, I do think, look, the Trump thing is not really serious. I think it is mostly television promotion, and we'll probably see him fade in the next few months.
And who will
possibly some
emerge?
More serious.
And who will emerge? Name one.
Well, you know, Mike Huckabee has got to make a
we're gonna leave
decision.
it at that.
Mike Huckabee has got to make a decision. He's doing very well in the polls right now.
He is, indeed. He is. Governor Huckabee. Byron, thank you very much. Ed, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You did a good job with him. Everybody's talking about Mike Huckabee.
He's happy.
He's a
Miguel,
great
thank you.
candidate. I'd love to see him run.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Up next, I'll give you some not so random thoughts on the direction this country is headed. There's some good news in there for lots of folks, by the way. And here is what the judge has up next on Freedom Watch.